And I believe there should be audio as well now. Hello. I have not streamed for many years, but here we go. So yeah, my name is Kevin. I'm a software engineer currently living in Paris, France. I have not done programming on my Twitch before. I've usually used it for computer games way back. It's been like at least 5 years since I've been streaming. But I figured let's work on something and actually show it instead of just playing games all the time. Don't get me wrong, I love my games, but in the past couple of years, I've transitioned my career from 3D in video games to software engineering, which is what I'm doing for a living now. And I figured, just have a Sunday stream where I'm working on something and showing it off. So for context here, let me just, sorry in advance if my screen navigation is a bit off. I'm using a very large monitor here and I'm not quite used to it despite having had it for a couple of months. Anyway, so what I'm working on here is a website for content creators, specifically content for Counter-Strike, Half-Life, generally source engine based games. There will be support for others in the future, I imagine. But for now, I'm focusing on specifically Counter-Strike Source and Counter-Strike Global Offensive content, because that's what I feel has the biggest user base. So I come from previously having... So earlier in my life, I used to be a super moderator on FPS Banana, or Game Banana as it's called now. And honestly, I kind of feel like that website has gone to hell. It's gone down in quality dramatically over the years by not having been kept updated, and the UX of the entire thing is just a nightmare. It's cluttered, it's ugly, it's not user friendly. And worst of all, it's just the quality of the content, because of these previously mentioned reasons, have dropped dramatically, because the users that used to produce the quality content has since left the platform for various reasons. The main one from my perspective is just the bad UX. Like, people don't want to use it. Simple as that. So my idea here is to change that. So I'm building a product here called NextBanana. It's going to be at nextbanana.com. Hopefully there won't be any copyright issues there, but it's going to be a very similar platform in that regard, except we won't allow users to upload whatever they want. Like, it's going to be curated, ideally, at the very least for the first couple of months, just to ensure that we got some good content on the platform. And yeah, again, we're not gonna support like Five Nights at Freddy's modding, or Among Us modding. These kind of silly things. We're really focusing on the Counter-Strike games at launch, at the very least. And I want to build the tools to be able to help people do that, basically, to create the best content they can, with support and help from myself and potentially a team of others with similar ideas. So yeah, not much to say there. As for the stack, let's talk tech here. The tech stack is it's a React code base built on Next.js. Technically built on Blitz.js, which is built on top of Next.js, but that's another discussion. Basically, Blitz.js gives us a database layer, and a bunch of other goodies, really, that I'm taking advantage of here in order to try and produce this as quickly as possible. So yeah, I've been working on this on and off for quite a while now. I've recently migrated to one of the Canary versions of Blitz. They've since gone out of beta on that, so that's a bit silly. I need to migrate again, but for the time being, I have something that kind of works, so I'm just taking it from there. For the time being, I'm focused on the submission pages right now on skins. The map pages are kind of broken right now, but the skins page is here. It works. I have working comment system. I have like user roles. So in this case, you can see I'm an admin here, and also I have roles for moderators, and I have some tiers planned for users, paid tiers to get them additional benefits on the site. That won't be at launch. Most likely, it will probably come later. But yeah, like I said, I got the basics working right now. I'm still working on getting everything set up, working flawlessly. It's not perfect by any means right now. There's a bunch of broken stuff, but we're getting there. So homepage doesn't have anything right now. You have to go to the specific categories. Right now, I'm just focusing on skins and maps, primarily skins, but I should also have a map. I'm not sure what's going on here. There we go. Nope. Let's try again. Maps. There you go. I have a single map right now. I just uploaded it. It says 25 days ago because I copied a column and added directly in the database because I haven't updated the map, anything regarding maps really. As you can tell, it's clearly broken. Simple issue to fix, but in the end, I'm gonna be working on the skins pages first, and then I'm just gonna copy that for maps and what else. I do have, as you can see in the code here, if I collapse some of this, whoop, up, boop, 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 boop. Yeah, so as you can see here, I do have, where is it? A folder for maps and a folder for skins, and eventually I'll have one for models and VFX and GUIs and whatever. But for now, these are the ones I have. I do also have one for submissions, which is technically what skins and maps are. They're based off of that in the schema. But I figured I would create these individual pages instead. It does mean I'll have to duplicate a lot of things, but it also allows me to have the flexibility to modify stuff if I need to for those specific categories. For example, maps have different categories than skins, which I could make a thing for inside of submissions that checks whether or not a thing is a map and skin and then load the correct thing. But I figured it would be a bit nicer just to, have them separate for my own ease of mind. Don't have to worry too much about it. So that's where I am right now. I do have a bunch of functionality already built, but it's, like I said, it's far from being done. I believe I can't create a new submission right now because I broke something yesterday. So that's obviously something I want to fix. But for now, I'm working on the UI for the skins page, like I said. So that's what we are going to be working on, I guess. So let's see. We are at the wrong page. Let's go to skin ID. By the way, like I said in the beginning, I have not been streaming for many years now, so I don't have any background music or anything fancy here. Feel free to put some music on yourself if you'd like. I'll probably be quiet for a lot of this, just because I'm not that talkative of a person, especially not while programming. So yeah. At the very least, I've been nice enough to bump up the font size, so you should be able to read this on the stream relatively easily. If not, too bad. I can't bump it up higher because then I can't see anything. So, and thankfully, it seems like my laptop is streaming and doing all this like a charm. I believe I tried earlier and it just didn't really work. But yeah. Okay, so what do we have? Let's look. Currently, I'm not super satisfied with this section here, with the title and the user uploaded, especially the little sidebar here with contributors and all that. I got the idea just today to add this as a second column, because otherwise it was all the way to the side, and that it seemed a little far away from the content itself, and it also gave too much space for the content, making it very difficult to read, in my opinion. Hence adding this additional column and bumping up the entire size of this main container. It used to be a bit narrower than the navigation, but I ended up just keeping the same width, because why not? It makes a bit more sense and gives me some more space to work with. Yes. So, like I said, functional commenting system. Comment goes here. Boop, and there you go. We have a comment, and it's ordered by the latest first, because that makes sense. And if you want to see the previous ones, you obviously just change page. Right now, this page counter is not calculated correctly. I fixed that in another project. I'll just have to copy it over. Been too lazy to do that. I should also say I have a fully functioning authentication and authorization code. I'm using a package called BlitzGuard for that, which allows me to very easily define what a user can and cannot do, which is defined in this ability file, which is quite nice. I'm sure I can optimize some of this, because a lot of the code here is the same, but for the time being, it works. I'm fine with it. Let's move on. So yeah, for example, I can see the ban button here because my account is an admin account. That's also why I can see, so I can also see delete buttons and such, and edit buttons on other people's comments. I don't have an example of that right now. But as an admin, I have full access to everything. I'm also working on a small admin dashboard. I haven't gotten too far with that, but that will be coming as well. Other users who are not admins will not be able to see the ban button, for example. They won't see delete or edit buttons on posts other than their own. The same goes for the submission itself, of course. You cannot edit or delete a submission that you do not own, unless you're an admin. Same goes for the promote button, which will eventually push the submission into a promoted list on the homepage. That's only available for admins and moderators at this time. Edit only for the owner, again, or admin or moderators. Report content and add to favorites will of course be available for everyone, as long as you're logged in, that is. If you're not logged in, of course, there's no point in seeing this, because you can't do the action. Yeah, so I should also specify to begin with here, I do not have a design for this. I am going completely freehand. I'm using Tailwind CSS with a bit of Tailwind UI here and there, but beyond that, it's all myself. So things might not be the best, but they can easily be improved. Everything is let me correct that. Most things are componentized, so swapping something out or modifying a small piece should be relatively straightforward. On top of that, the stack is also using TypeScript for type safety, which I'll admit at first I had a lot of struggles with, but having used it for the past year and a half, if not longer, possibly 2 years actually at this point, there are benefits to it. I still struggle with some basic types once in a while, like event types on click and that kind of stuff. Like, it's basic stuff, but for some reason I just always have to look it up. But other than that, it's working just fine. It's nice to have. So yes, let's see, what was I going to do? Ideally, at one point I want to have it so that when you click one of these images, it pops out so you can see it full screen. But a colleague of mine wrote a library for that, which mimics how Medium does it. The Medium article site. So I'll most likely be using that for this functionality. So for the time being, I won't be bothering. Let's work on this, I guess. So we wanna So my idea at first here was to allow analytics for paid accounts. After having discussed that a bit at work, obviously a different use case, but still it applies. Running daily analytics can easily get quite expensive, especially if you have a lot of customers. I'm not saying that I will be expecting thousands of people to go on this thing immediately at launch. Of course not. I'm not that ignorant, or whatever the word might be. But still, I don't want to end up with a very hefty bill for something like that. So for the time being, we're just using static page views and downloads. We're not tracking it. It's just being updated whenever someone does something, which we should actually probably do. For context as well, right now this content that you're seeing on the page comes from a seeds file that I've done previously. It's not perfect by any means. It doesn't generate that much data. I used to have a script that did, but honestly it was very broken in that it would just choose random values for everything, which works in that you get a lot of data, but a lot of the data don't make sense. Say it would just choose random categories, so you could end up with maps that is listed as a skin in a category that makes absolutely no sense, and the download number just doesn't make any sense, and there's just like a bunch of random comments, which works for testing, but ideally I'd still like to have some relatively proper looking data for testing. The rest can come when I'm running end-to-end test. There I don't care, but when I'm looking at the thing in development mode, it should ideally look real. That's my thought at the very least. But anyway, I keep rambling here instead of actually working, so let me try and shut up for a moment and focus. We want to bump up the downloads whenever the user clicks the download button. Right now that will just take you to a downloads page, which I believe is empty. Yeah, so I've written down what I want to happen here. Like, again, you wait 5 seconds, the download starts, something like that, maybe longer, who knows. And again, that time could be removed for paid tiers, but I want that in order to kind of limit the amount of time that the amount of downloads a user can make within a given time frame. Again, just covering my own ass in terms of server costs. But when the user gets to this page, ideally that download should trigger, as well as having the download count increase by 1. So that action, I could have it happen on the button click, but ideally instead I like to have it happen on the download page. So for that we'll use a use effect, which comes from React. Yes, I know I can autocomplete that, by the way, but for some reason VS Code is just not handling that very well. So I'm using React 17, meaning I don't need the React keyword, which is nice. However, the autocomplete, you can see here, if I remove use effect myself, and I want to autocomplete that. Oh, come on. Yeah, okay. So of course it doesn't pop when I want it to, but point is, it would instead ask me to import the React keyword first, and then the autocomplete will work. So that it would tell me that you need to import use effect. But for now it doesn't work, so I'll just do it myself. Like that, like that, like that. We need to run this. Let's just run it once. Again, here we should have a timeout that we would listen for, but we don't have it. So for the time being, we'll need a update mutation, which we have. Yeah, we don't have it there. We have it in here. Let's just copy it. Update skin mutation. Boop. So looking over at my other window here where I'm seeing the stream, it seems to be flashing black quite often. I'm not seeing anyone in the chat. I think the one person watching is myself. But if there's someone watching, is it? If there's someone watching, could you tell me if it's blinking for you or if it's just my preview that's doing that? I guess I could view on OBS instead, and which doesn't seem to blink. So I'm assuming it's just an issue with Twitch and the fact that I'm streaming and viewing it at the same time. Okay, so we need this try catch. Just copy that. I'm lazy. Throw that in there. Try catch. Boom. Use mutation. Again, we need to import that. Blitz. Yes. Update skin. Need to import that from there. Okay, and then where's skin.id? And here we don't update anything except for downloads. Where we go, skin downloads +1. There you go. We don't do that. We don't really care about that, but let's just keep it. Did I delete something? No. Yeah, fuck it, let's just keep that. I don't think we need it, but let's just have it. Don't need anything else with that. Set query data. Yeah, we need to get it from here. This entire thing I should also change because I wrote a hook for that instead. Don't need you, but we do need you. So I wrote a custom use skin hook, which is basically doing this. So let's just call that. We can also get rid of that because the hook as well also takes care of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And would you please update so I can import this? Here we do skin.id instead. Skin.id should be good. There we go. Find complaints, which means import that. There we go. Ideally, if you would go up here. So I have a thing with the import order. It bothers me if it's not in a specific order, essentially. I'll admit I don't follow it on every page, but yeah, at some point I should probably update a or import a ESLint rule or something to have that sorted for me. Why are you complaining here? I'm going to. Okay, well, that's fine. We just don't care. Oh, that's one too many. We don't actually use that many. We just do that. Cool. Not sure why you're complaining. Do this. So here I'm disabling this line because of the exhaustive depth dependencies, basically. React isn't that smart with this rule. This rule is very hard to check, you know, programmatically, I think is the word. Oh, this needs to be async. We can't do that. Okay, fuck it, let's do that. Whatever. Essentially, it won't know sometimes whether or not it needs something. So in this case, it asked for the skin ID and the skin that downloads, as well as the update skin mutation itself. And every time those change, it would fire again if I include them in the array. In this case, I just want to fire the array once, which is why we want the empty array when the user lands in the page. Hence why I'm disabling this line, because it will keep complaining and I don't want to have to deal with that, because it won't ever be something I'd like to do in this case. So ignoring that is the way to go for sure. Let's just bump that down a little bit. So now we should have that working, I think. So if we go back here, let's just refresh for good measure, which takes a while apparently. Here we go. So we have 8,140 downloads. When I click the download button, that should increase. Let's go in here, open the network panel, and we should be able to see it in there. So if we click, it fired updates again. Okay. So if we go back, we should see 8,141 downloads, and we do. So again, 142. Yeah, so that works as intended. Again, like I said, of course, we want to have it so that it doesn't update this unless the download is initiated after 5 or 10 seconds. That can be done by a use timeout or set timeout. However, as I'm not actually downloading anything right now, there's no point in bothering with that. We can implement that once we actually got the files. And in order to get that, I still have some work to do with the S3 uploads that I'm doing for the files. I got it working for the images. Still need to hook it up for files themselves. They need to go in a different bucket, but it should be fairly straightforward. I'm not doing that today though, I don't think. So we've got that. Page view is a bit trickier. Because if I set it up the same way as I just had with the downloads, I could just refresh the page and it would just bump up that number indefinitely for as many times as I refresh, which is bad. I don't want to do that. Ideally, we'd like to utilize the session somehow. So if a session has seen this page once, in my case, I'm logged in, that means I have a session going for that. If I log out and log back in, a new session will start. If I remember correctly, at the very least. We want this session to be the thing that checks, or that the thing that makes this page view go up. So again, I've logged in. I go to see this page. That should log as a page view. If I go back to the home page or browse around the website and come back to this page, that should not count as an additional page view, in my opinion, because the user's already seen the page during that session. I don't believe we care about how many times a user goes back to see this. Instead, I think it makes more sense to, again, utilize the session if the user logs out and then comes back the next day or even later the same day. That doesn't really matter. As long as the new session is initiated, that counts as a new page view. And I believe we have a way of setting it up so that if, and I could be wrong here, of course, I haven't looked into it yet, but I believe it should be possible to set up sessions for users that are not logged in, so that people will still be able to not have an account and still count a page view. Of course, that'll be a bit tricky with figuring out how we reset that, because we don't know the user. One thing, of course, is to store it in the user's cache or local storage or something, where we of course can't prevent the user from clearing that cookie or whatever we store that keeps track of their user or the session rather. But it's something to try and prevent them from just like getting 1 million page views and 2 downloads, you know. Yeah, so this should happen on the server. So we want that to happen in the mutation. We don't want it to happen on the front end because that would be exploitable. Which makes me think already that the way we implement the downloads is not ideal. Ideally, that should be a mutation, I suppose, which would then trigger on the back end. Yeah, that would definitely be the way to go. So for that, we would need to create a new mutation. We already have a few here, as you can see, mostly for reporting or demoting, changing things within the skin itself. Which is, we probably want to like have one as well. It's just not that one here. Let's just copy that and we say download skin. Let's say yeah, let's space that on read. Download the skin. Download. Just update the type. Download. Download. So why are you complaining? It's just slow. Okay, so I do understand that I updated Blitz, which means I believe it's favorites I did that with, which means we've changed the new syntax using this resolver pipe. You know what? Yeah, actually, while we're here, let's update this to use the same feature set or the same code style, I guess. So one thing that when you generate these from the Blitz generator, it doesn't include the this type anymore because the resolver pipe doesn't need it. However, I still like to have it because I do use it in some scenarios, which is why I'm exporting it in the first place. But I am using it elsewhere just to save me a bit of time. Not sure that's the best approach, but for the time being it works, so I'm gonna keep it like that. Meaning we will not be getting rid of that. Oh, I should have muted my phone. We can keep this line as well. And I believe we can also just copy this and dump that in here. Boom. Like that. And then it's just a matter of copying the name. Read skin. We can do it up to there. Here we say download skin. We had this before. Now we don't. Okay, for this we just do like before. Downloads equals to. How do we do that in this case actually? I guess we would just do. Can't use this, can we? No. No, let's not be silly. Yeah. One. I'm actually not sure here, because we need to get the number while at the same time increasing it. So we could of course just, make it so that you have to pass the download number, but that would be a bit silly. It would be nice if you could take care of that itself. Wait, what are we doing here? We just pass where? Okay. So what we'll do here instead, if we will just load the skin. Equal await db submission. Find first where input. I believe. Yeah, of course not. That would just be ID. My input. So we could do like this, I believe. And this allows us to do skin. Downloads +1. Oh, and submission is potentially null. Which means we will have to throw an error if the skin doesn't exist, but you shouldn't trigger this without it existing in the first place. Regardless, actually, that's also add a download to our ability file. I need to let's keep that here. That could be both, so actually let's do it here. Download. And it's just while we add it, make it a bit nicer. So uses submission. Oh, submissions. Okay, there we go. That helps a little bit. I'm sure we can clean that up another way. As a matter of fact, I spoke with the creator of BlitzGuard about this exact thing, mapping these extended ability types to the resources. There's a solution for that. It's on Discord, on the Blitz channel. However, it seemed a bit overkill for my use case. I might do it eventually, but for the time being, I haven't bothered yet. I was just thinking if that was something we could do, which thankfully it is. And you can also download map and skin. That's something anyone can do. We don't really want to block them from doing that. So that means this is all good. This is still potentially null, meaning we need to call a authentication error, I believe. Oh, not found error. Here we go. Let's just use that. Boom. If no skin, we called it not found, which comes from Blitz. So here it will be there when we get to this point. And it has a downloads, which is a number which defaults to 0, meaning this will always go up by 1 as we expect. Yes. What we don't want to do actually is return the submission update. What we do want to return is the download. I'm not entirely sure how we'll do that, but for now, let's just return skin.file URL, I believe. Let's just fetch that. What we do with it, no idea. We'll see. But it should work. I'm not sure we need the authorized here because you don't need to be authorized in order to download. You should be able to do that without logging in. Let's hook it up first and see. So download skin. We got you as a mutation. We need to call you from here. Download, and download. Which also means we get rid of that. We just need the where. Download skin mutation. Expected 2 arguments. What's the second argument you're expecting? As far as I'm aware, you only expect 1, which is the ID. Download skin, download skin. I mean, if you insist. No. Well, what are you expecting then? You are just expecting the ID, aren't you? Or am I being wrong here? No, should be correct. What is the issue here? Argument where? Oh, there you go. Again, just slow. Just slow. The more you know. Okay, so that should work, and then that should somehow return the URL, I guess. I'll admit I'm not entirely sure. Many of the things I'm trying to do here I've not done before. This is as much of a learning experience for me as it is an actual project that I want to release. But let's see what happens here. Absolutely nothing. I should have figured that. File. Console log file. That should give us the URL. Promise. We need to await that. We need this to be async. How do we do that again? See if we do async here, it will tell us. Yeah, okay, so we need a fetch file. Cool. Oh, that's the wrong part. We need async here, like that. And then in here we throw the try catch, I guess. See. Yeah, and that gives us the URL now. What we do with that, I have no idea. Let's throw it into state, I guess. Download URL, set download URL, use state. By default, it's just null. And that is fine. See. This is what I meant earlier. Except for some reason it works now. Never mind. We need to set download URL. Boom, there we go. And then we load the download URL and we just dump it in there. Of course. And we don't need the brackets. What am I doing? There, string or null. Null by default, otherwise it's a string, so that should get rid of that whenever it wants to. And here we go, we have the link. If we refresh, which for some reason is really slow when streaming. Anytime now. Yeah, there you go. And it works. And it should also update our download counter. Which it has. We're at 47 now. So 8,147. So that's good. Cool. Meaning for page views, we want to do something similar. Increase page view. So here comes the difficult part of actually naming these damn things. It's not easy. Scene, skin. Smart. So we can do scene. Scene, page views. For that we don't need to return anything. read here. Oh, and scene. Scene skin. Scene skin. There. This will allow us to see the skin, meaning we increase the page view whenever this mutation is being fired. So the big question here, of course, is how do we do that based on the session? Let's see. Page view. Is there anything here? I know there's one example already. Scene. Yeah, no. I know we have one example already in the Blitz repository, but I don't believe it works as we want it to. I could be wrong, of course. Let's have a look real quick. Search for page view. Oh. Yeah, that's not it. I think if we just search view, we should find it. Yeah, track view. So they have a track view mutation, which they fire when that doesn't work, of course. They fire when you click a button, of course, which we don't want. Regardless, I'm curious what that file looks like. So they set the view on the session. What we could do, which would work in a similar fashion but fit better our use case, would be to perhaps add the ID to an array of, so what they're doing here is that they have a views counter on their session, which they're just updating by one in both public and private data. Not entirely sure why they do it both, but they do. What we could do instead would be to, rather than setting just a counter, which doesn't really tell us that much, except the user has seen this amount of pages during their session, we can set the ID of the page they've seen. So we probably want to be a bit more explicit. So instead of just setting the ID, we could also set which resource it is. So is it a submission or a user or a favorite or whatever it could be. That would be a bit more flexible in the long term. So I think we're going to be doing that, setting an array of objects with that on the session. That should work fine, I believe. So let's do that. Let's just copy this for ease of use. It's in users, mutations, track view. Let's just call it the same because I am very lazy. So viewers does not exist on session. That is true. Let's see, where does that come from? How did you add that to the session? Let's see. Just open that for reference, see if there's anything there. Okay. Okay, this is obviously outdated. Let's go to, did they add it to master? Is that the latest now? No, they don't have master. Main. Canary is default, okay. So it's updated. No, it's not. It's actually still outdated. That's funny. doesn't matter, but it's funny. This comes from a core. Does that mean they have that in core already, or am I missing something? Where would that be? Oh God. Blitz data maybe? Nope. It's password stuff. Let's just try and search directly. Nope. Use. Yeah, we get this back again. So let's just see in this example. If you go to auth types. Yeah, okay, so it's just added to the public data like that. So types. So in this one, for my public data here in this app, we're just handling the ban reason and banned ad, as well as the user role and some other information that we want to get at all times. It's not anything private. If you're banned, you need to know that. Impersonating from user ID, I'm not sure if that should be in the public one or in the private data, honestly. Brandon, who's the creator of Blitz, wrote a guide on how to set something like this up so you can personate a user, meaning if you have a user, I can pretend to be you so I can see the application as you would, which is not something you should usually do without explicit permission, but it's something that you can do, and it can be quite useful for debugging purposes. It can be misused, of course, but you wouldn't do that. If you do that, you're an asshole. So don't do that. Don't impersonate your users and use it to mess them up or do something that you wouldn't allow on your platform. So yeah. But okay, that means we just need to add the views here. Viewed. Oh. And we want that to be an array of objects. So let's do resource. Let's just do string for now. Fuck it. And ID is number. Yeah. So this would allow you to say I viewed skin or submission with the ID of 2. And in the mutation, we can check if it already exists on the user's public data. If it does, don't add it again. Meaning we don't increase the number as well. If it doesn't exist in the public data, however, meaning that the user hasn't visited, meaning we can increase the page number. I believe that would work. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get viewed instead of views because these are the pages I've viewed. That makes sense to me at least. So let's just keep it for now. Again, ideally as well, we would also use a proper type for this, but for now, I'm okay with this. Actually, I'm not okay with this. Let's make a type for that. Type viewed resource. It can be either. Let's see, how do we get that? Do we have an easy way of doing that? We probably do have an easy way of doing that, but I am okay by going user. Actually, yeah, that won't work. Okay, let's just do it like a. Actually, let's keep that, but do it super dumb. User submission. I'm adding a skin and map here. as well as VFX and GUI and model, because I believe those are the ones I have currently, even though I'm not working actively on all of them. But I'm doing that purely because, so again, like all of these are submissions. They're just like subtypes of those, I guess you could say. But the reason I'm doing that is just for the granularity. Submission is something I ideally don't want to actually use ever. That should ideally be for like shared stuff, which for now I'm just working on getting everything done in their respective sections or categories, if you like. And once I've done that, I'm gonna see which parts goes again in the various sections, and then abstract those inside of the submission. That's my thought at the very least. If I go that route, I don't know, but that's my thinking. Okay, so we should have that now. I believe we need to restart the server and like, delete cache and all that, but we have it. We'll also need to delete my existing sessions, but let's just set this up first. So track view, we actually want to get some data. We want to get an ID and resource. So let's do ID. Actually, we did resource and ID. Let's do that, and let's just quickly make a tag for that. We export that just in case we need it. Track view, just call that whatever, I don't care. Resource, did we export that actually? We did not, but we should, because then I can just copy this. Nice. Actually, I should have extrapolated this entire thing as well. Export type viewed type like that, and then we can do that. There. And then we import view type instead. How about that? That should get us what we need. Yes, it doesn't complain. Session viewed. Otherwise, it's just an empty array. Makes sense. Viewed. Current views. Resource ID. And let's just do the same thing for, wait, is this in public data twice? Ah, private. Oh, that slowed down. I was wondering why it was saying public twice. That makes no sense. And we didn't pass the ID. There. So now we set the IDs on the public view, but we're not actually updating the actual view counter, which is something we want to do. And my laptop got really slow all of a sudden. Why is that? Let's see. Well, my laptop got really warm and that slowed it right down. That's a bit of an issue, but let's not worry too much about that. We've been going for almost an hour. Damn. Let's see. So we need to, first of all, let me save that. We need to load. Yeah, how do we do? We need to pass something else to the track view, of course. This in itself is not enough. It also needs to be guarded, which it's not right now, actually. Let's just quickly do, come on, nope. Like this. And let's just import everything the same way. because I am a very lazy boy, and this is how I do things. So this can just go const. Boom. Try view. User. View. Let's add view. So users can view. Cool. Oh, it needs to be async. Go. And now we got the view. User complaint because you're slow. Type what? Because we return. No, it's fine. Okay. Okay. Let's see. How do we do this from here? That's a good question. Let's see. How do we do that from here? So what we do is, oh, excuse me. From here we should, that is tricky. We need to track a view from any of the resources. We're getting the resource, so we know it's a submission or skin or whatever. We know the ID. I really need to take notes when I think of a solution to something, because I immediately forgot. So we know if the user have seen skin with the ID of 2, because it's logged in the public data. So we just need to find that, which I guess we can just, on the skin ID, we can run a use effect. Which runs once, in which we check the session, which we have already loaded. Actually, we can check it more than once. That's fine. Let's get session. Let's quickly import use effect. And here we should be able to see session. Viewed, bind, equal skin.id, and resource equal skin.type. Is it not type? What did I call it? It's not status. I called it type, didn't I? That comes from the category. I don't specify that here. So skin category dot section, that's the one. So we specify the section on the category instead. So here we say, why are you complaining? Yeah, okay, so we need to abstract that in there from into the type, actually, because these don't exist. I believe we should have a type for that. Let's just quickly check here. Where section? Yeah, okay, so section. To uppercase. There we go. We also want submission. Again, for the same reason. We're doing uppercase instead, just because consistency. Close those. Now they have an overlap. Okay. So now it finds if it exists. So const has viewed. If has viewed. Actually, just if not, because you've already seen it, we don't care. So that checks if the session has viewed the submission with the ID and with the same like section or type or category or whatever you want to call it, just to be safe. In this case, we could actually just go in here and say skin, because we're working on the skins specifically. We don't want to check any of the others. So if it has the same ID and the resource is a skin, I mean, you've seen it. We should probably do skin or submission. Or submission. We don't actually have this currently, but we might. So in this case, we do expect it to be a submission, but again, a submission is, or we expect it to be a skin, but a skin is technically also submission. So just to cover all grounds, we do both. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, we want to run the update mutation, which we can get from edit. Let's just copy it. Update skin mutation. I'm just copying because I am very lazy. Scene skin is what the one we want to call. Scene skin. Scene skin mutation, because we can't overlap the names. And then we want to do try catch error. I never remember this. Let's just get rid of you. Actually, we can, if you have viewed it, no, yeah, just if you haven't. If you have, we don't care. I am messing stuff up. Let's go in here, just copy the try catch, because again, I am lazy. Here. Skin mutation. We don't really, actually, yeah, we kind of do. We kind of do. Skin sets query data. There we go. Did not update it. I'll import you. Import. There we go. And we need to do this again. Const add page. Let's just call that async. We can put you out there because we don't really care about that part. Where do you stop? You stop there. Boom, boom, boom. Here. need to push anything. You're adding issue. Don't want that actually. We just want this. And that should be it. Now we just need to wait for TypeScript to stop being slow and tell me is this correct. Okay, so immediately void is not okay, which makes sense. So we need to go in here and return. Come on. Return this. And then that should be what we want. Has viewed all undefined. Okay, so we just do or false. Because if we don't find it, that means you haven't seen it. Okay, let's just do all false. There you go. Excuse me. Okay, there you go. Now it's gonna spool it. So this should be the last mistake, or what am I waiting for here? Come on, TypeScript. So here we can actually add everything at once. That's fine. Because we already run the check saying, like, have you seen this? If you have, we really don't care. If you haven't, it's fine. So we can theoretically run this function as many times as we want, and it won't do a difference, because if you haven't seen it, we'll do something. If you have, so actually the only thing we need to add here is just make sure that we said it, that you've seen it after. But first of all, why is this complaining now? So it's missing some stuff, which we should be able to do by going in here and we say skin and boom. Like that, I believe. Because that way, yeah, so this way we get everything from skin that we already have, and then we're just adding what we updated in this case, which is the page view. Let's see. So last thing to do is to fire the tracked view, which we can do in here as well. So I wait track view, and in here we do resource, which is skin id skin.id. Did you import yourself? Are you nice? No, you're not. Track view, app, users, mutations, track view. Expected 2 arguments, got 1. Okay, so they're separate. That's right. So we just do that, and we just do that. And you will want track view as well, which is fine again. And why are you complaining? Argument type string. Right, because we have a type for that now, so that's fine. Track view. So we can just import that view type. Wait, which we did. Right. As view type see if I can just do that. Actually, no, because it's a type. Let's view type. Yeah, I can't find you, of course. I need to go all the way up. Type from types. It's a bit sad having to import manually just because TypeScript is slow. Do that. Oh, that's unnecessary. Okay, well, I'm okay with that. Type resource. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? This is your view resource. Fly all the way up there, fly all the way back. Save and wait. It should work. So here I am earlier today saying that I like TypeScript. It can be quite tedious sometimes to get to work. In this case, I'm sure it's just a dumb issue I'm having. But it's an issue regardless, so let's see. Would you update, please? I mean, it should overlap. It should be fine. Let's try and restart the server and see if that speeds it up. I doubt. I really doubt it'll fix it, but you know, you never know. So are you done complaining or are you still loading? Seems like it's done. Wait, whoa, hold up. We're looking for view type. But that should cover that because we have this. Okay. It seems to not be complaining. So hopefully when we visit the page now, we should be able to increase this. Cannot really find if undefined because of course we still haven't updated that in our database, which you can't see entirely. We need to remove our sessions. I just have this one, which is mine. Delete that from the database. Go back and let's just go back to localhost. And then in theory now, it should create that for us in the session, which should initiate to an empty array. And it should be able to track page views for us. So if we first go to skins, check this one out. It breaks. Okay. Because we of course don't have, and this is still complaining for some reason. You find that. Let's just hope that doesn't complain. Hello 7, and yes, I am absolutely a nerd. Fun fact, I have you in my database. I must be logged in. Okay, so we fucked up the authentication, which is nice to see that it works. And that is because in our ability, view user, what did we set it to? View user, so that should be fine. Scene Skin. Read skin. Either of those should be able to do. Oh, you love databases, do you? I don't think I'm using your user currently, but I do have you. Actually I have quite a few. Yeah, there you go, 7. Obviously the email is wrong for all of these because I don't know them. But yeah, I needed test data and I wanted real data, so you know, fuck it. Why not just steal some of my homies? So what's the issue? Adding page views. Adding page view. Okay, so it's happening in here. But both these should be available. Unless fuck off. Unless this, we don't need to authorize that one. And then if we refresh, that should be fine. Well, different error. Yeah, so yeah, some data is from NextBanana because I've been very lazy. I do have an S3 bucket where I can upload the photos I need. I haven't done that. I have for a few things, but not for everything. So a lot of things are actually being loaded directly from NextBanana and some other places. I have a laptop that just rebooted for some reason. As you can see here, like images, I do allow some to be loaded from NextBanana, just because it saves me some time. Eventually it'll be all moved over to the NextBanana AWS server, but I'm really lazy, so fuck that. Besides, I'm just working in localhost anyway, so I'm not a thief. I'm what's the word? It's public data, you know. I don't have to log in to see it, so it's fair game, right? Then again, I haven't read their terms of service, so maybe it's not. But you know, shut up. It's your data. I'm allowed to use your data, aren't I? Are you telling me I can't do this? I'm pretty sure I can. Try and stop me. Okay, what the fuck is this issue now? Yeah, come on, refresh. Did I really have to be streaming for an hour before anyone decided to join, by the way? That is, that's rude. Should have come here earlier. Why am I not refreshing? Oh, I still have some APIs to secure. That's embarrassing. Although I believe this one here we can just exclude because we need that anyway. Alright, I think I have to stop the server. Well, that's embarrassing. Ah, yeah, sure, the time zone, of course, of course. That's it. That's the one. Not the fact that it's like in the middle of the day anyway, and it's a Sunday. You have time. Come on, man. And if anything, I won't blame the time zone itself. I'll blame France if I need to blame anything. So there's that. Come on, give me a page view. So for the record 7, what you haven't seen me do so far is work a little bit on the page views for the individual skins. I've updated that a little bit. I've also made it so that the download counter for the specific skin will update accordingly whenever a user is downloading something. I am currently in the process of making sure that page views are also updated correctly in a way that if you see the same page several times within a session, it doesn't count as a new page view. But if you log out and you log back in, a new session starts, and that will count as a new page view. That should hopefully help prevent the page view counter going absolutely insane if you just keep refreshing the same page. It seems that it's just not working though, but you know. Oh, you just saw me being a massive nerd. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I can't argue with that. So, yeah, a bit of a nerd. It's funny actually because I checked and it's been at least, I think I streamed a little bit 3 years ago, like just like 10 minutes or something. So I don't count that. But other than that, ooh, that is firing a lot. Let's get away from this page. Yeah, okay, so that's the issue. It keeps firing. But yeah, like I checked and last I streamed was at least 5 years ago, and it was just video games. And all of a sudden I come out of nowhere just streaming programming because I'm a nerd. So that's fun. We don't want you to fire whenever the skin updates or the query data updates because that would just trigger it indefinitely. So let's just ignore that, save, and hope for the best. On a Sunday even, I know. To be fair, I did consider doing it on Saturday, but I ended up being lazy on all of Saturday. So I figured I would do this now. I mean, to be honest, I'm actually procrastinating right now. I'm not supposed to be working on this. I have a topic for work that I'm supposed to work on, but I would rather not do that. So I'm working on this instead. Don't judge me, man. All right, let's see. It's still firing a lot. Stop that. Because of that. Wait. It's firing scenes. It's also firing track view, which is okay. So I think the issue, honestly, is that if you haven't seen the page. Oh yeah, no, the game banana autoload for ads. That's bullshit. I understand the reason for having ads on the side. He makes plenty of money from that, but yeah, it's bullshit. I think at launch, I obviously won't have ads on this side because I don't know how to approach that in the first place. But I would much rather go for a paid, like some kind of subscription service, rather than have ads on the side. I just need to flesh out like which kind of benefits the users would get if they decide to go for a paid plan or paid tier or whatever it's going to be. But yeah, no, I don't think Tom is complaining about the ad money though. I think he's doing fine. If anything, I'm impressed that he hasn't set it to refresh much more frequently than what it does. What I don't understand, honestly, so fuck the ads, I don't care, I have an ad blocker, I mean, whatever. What I don't understand is how he allowed the site to turn into chaos by letting people upload like fucking Five Nights at Freddy's skins and like Among Us content. Like, it's just not the same anymore. Like, no one is using it for its original purpose, which was FPS, FPS banana. I understand broadening the scope, but at the same time, it's trash now. Like, it's kids using it, that's it. Then again, the ad money, so, what the fuck was I doing? Yes, okay. So I think the issue here. Oh, stop clicking. I think the issue here is that I'm setting the skin mutation, which increases the page counter as we want, and then I don't fucking know. I'll admit I've not used the Nexus very much. I remember using them when I played Skyrim a few years ago. They have a lot of really good content, which is nice for a lot of various games as well. But I find the platform not necessarily difficult to use. That's not the word I want to use, but it's not great. The experience of using it isn't great. I do like that they have a download manager, if I remember correctly, which NextBanana at the time didn't. They do now, although it's for the individual games and it's kind of trash because the individual like upload is not structured correctly. But yeah, no, the Nexus definitely did a lot of things really well. But again, I think just navigating the site was kind of a mess, and the way that the individual like submission pages were set up was, or is rather, kind of dumb. Like it's lacking features, and it's just not looking that great in my experience, or in my opinion, I should say. Not saying I'm a better designer or anything, obviously not, but you know, I'd like to think that. Yeah, 2012 NextBanana was much better for sure. I went back to the like Wayback Machine just to look at some of the earlier versions of the site, and they've definitely, so it was never great by any means, but it had a unified look and you knew where to find things. But over time, as more games were added and more sections were added, it just became a clusterfuck, and Tom, clearly being a backend developer, didn't really have what it took to make a decent front-end experience. So users got used to it, of course, but it could have been so much better. Even now, there's so many weird decisions made. Like, you can see all the buttons for admins. When you click them, you get an error message saying you don't have access. But like, why is the button available in the first place if I don't have access anyway? Like, just don't show it to me. It, like, they have so many odd decisions I don't understand. Like, yeah, I believe Tom did come out, I think it was last month, saying that he understands that he's kind of abandoned it, and that he'll try to do better to improve it, the site. But honestly, I don't think he can recover at this point. Like, so many of the people that kept the site alive has left like years ago. Like, you're not getting them back now. I don't think I will with this site either, but at least it's a fun learning experience. So, you know, there's that. Why do I keep ending my sentences with a laugh? That's kind of weird. Oh yeah, for sure you'd have to completely redo it. Too bad I'm getting there first. Yeah, no, there's no saving it. It's dead. It's fucking dead. I mean, have you looked at it? Like, I think it's fine for me to show it. Like, what the fuck installing mods on Android? Who cares? Like, it's a, again, yes, you broaden the spectrum, but it's not for fucking mobile games. Like, oh, Sonic 3, Friday Night Funking. I see this all the time. I still don't know what the fuck it is, but apparently it's popular. I'm like, what is all this? What the fuck is all this? Like, okay, you got music previews directly on the site. That's nice for sound, but I mean, yeah, so for blurring the on mouse over, I think it's for like highlighting the title and everything, but yeah, I don't get it. Not to mention that on most low-end machines, which based on the content I'm seeing uploaded, like fucking Baldi's basic, like, I'm assuming people don't have great machines in the first place, and adding a blur is just not helping. Like, all these transforms and transitions, like, yes, it's nice, but we used to have like a featured section that looked so much better. And I should know, I didn't work on the code for it, but I worked on like uploading the featured content on there. But like, all of this, it's just so bad, and the column is so slim too. Like there's not enough space. Like you need white space, and you don't have it. Like everything is just cluttered. Well, honestly, the weirdest thing I found recently is actually the notifications or activity center or whatever they call it. Like I'm getting notifications about shit I have nothing to do with. Yeah, exactly. You're just pointing it out yourself. Like, why? I haven't used the site. Like, I'm not involved in this. Like, it's on AOM's profile, I imagine. Like someone is commenting or something. But like, why am I getting notified just because we're friends? Like that. It's fine. Fine. Have it as a setting if you like. Whatever. But don't put it on by default. Like, what the fuck? And there's also the fact that the site is just so old that a lot of content are posted in not necessarily the wrong categories, but not the best fit potentially, I guess. Like content has wrong formatting because Tom added a different kind of formatting at some point and broke all the old submissions. And for some reason, the moderators now go through and fix all this by hand. Like, that should not be done by hand. Write a code mod or something and run a migration script. Like, do something on the server instead. You don't do that by updating individual users' stuff and then you get notifications like, hey, this user updated your stuff. No, stop that. Yeah, so check my notification settings. Yeah, I would do that if I could fucking find the settings. I know I sound mad, but it's so bad. It's really so bad. Let's see, where do we change this? Notifications. Also, so I do like the icons. It's nice. It helps get an overview. If it wasn't because all the icons look the same. I know it's like they're going for that pixel style, but it's just so bad. And this view here is horrible too. Again, white space. I can't read anything. What the fuck is custom? Like, why? It's just nested settings. Dude, stop. What is this shit? Can I just have an option to like disable everything? At least to turn off the newsletter. Thank God. What is so this is peak backend developer shit. Like that's all. That never has there been a designer over this, like any of it. Tom, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Okay, let's. Is there anything about friends? No, but it's probably in one of the options. When a post is stamped. When a flag of my what? Okay, so some of these makes well, when a flag of mine removed sent me an email. What? Like, why is that the default? When something is unwithheld from me, I mean, okay, a site alert is fine, but when something is withheld, maybe send me an email then. Like, I would like to know, and an email would help with that. But what the fuck is sub content? What is this? I'll just remind you, I used to be a fucking super moderator on this site, and I don't even know what the fuck a sub-content submission is. This is the first I'm hearing of this. That must be new in the last, like, 3 or 4 years. What the fuck? Disable, honestly, yeah. So that's where I need a button for disable all. Because they don't have it. I'm just... When a body initiates activity, send me nothing. Okay, why am I getting notifications whenever someone is fucking getting their a post on their site, on their profile? Like, why? Like, it doesn't really... Cool, okay, you have a short description of what the fuck everything is, but I don't know what everything is. Like, it's just too much information. There, do nothing. Fuck all. There we go, all gone. Oh yeah, better yet, it doesn't remember that I used to have ripe a long time ago. It doesn't even remember the fact that I used to be staff. Like, okay, VIP clearance, meaning I have ripe, but I don't have the badge for having ever had ripe. And they removed the admin badge, which kind of makes sense, but at the same time, like, why not include one that said, oh, X admin or something at least. That would have been nice, you know, just so people don't have to like go read this shit and like I got a PM not that long ago. I'm showing this because it's fucking funny. Here, apparently I banned a beta USP skin, and he just posted why. Like just read that. It's gold. It's gold. I realize that everything you're seeing is delayed, but fucking why? And yes, I'm being rude to the guy because I do not care. It's fucking funny. So anyway, the site's trash. Let's not worry about that. So I think what we do here is, instead of tracking, so I'm the one who withheld it. So I'm assuming he still got like the notification that it was me, without checking that it was like 8 years ago, or like however long it was. Like, I don't even know what he's talking about exactly. Like, what the fuck? Not to mention, I believe that at least there used to be a way for you to message on the withholding page, whatever, to ask for like information with the admin who actually withheld it. So why don't you just post there? I have nothing to do with that. Besides, it was so long ago. Why do you care now? Best of all, the user is not the one who uploaded the thing. He found a link to it somewhere and then it just shows my profile picture, I assume, or something. And he just assumed like he needed to message me. But like, no. It's gone, dude. You can't download. Well, actually, you can still download it if you have the link for the download itself. Because Tom, the big brain that he is, when a skin is deleted, it's removed in that you can't access the page, but the link for the file and the screenshots are still available, if I remember correctly. You just can't get the links. One thing that actually bothers me about GameBanana, if we go and find a submission, normally if you go to the network tab and you look for XHR requests, if you load something, it should show up here with the data for the submission, but it doesn't. It just loads this thing that checks if you're there, like for the chat system, I guess. I really wish that they would have an API response with all the API, like, because they do have an API, but they don't use it themselves in order to render the pages. It's like rendered on the server and then just like they push all the HTML somehow. Which is why if you do any action, it has to do a full refresh, which is stupid. On my side, if you type a comment, you don't have to like refresh the page when you hit submit. It just shows up immediately. It's so much nicer, and the same happens for other actions. But they do have an API. That's a GB API, which is super poorly documented, I might add. But at some point, I will need to go over this and write a custom script that like includes this, just to allow it to easily import data from users who like have given permission, basically. Because that's going to be the easiest way to import content into NextBanana. It's just going to be like using the API. If Tom decides to remove the API because he finds out about this, I'll just scrape the data anyway. Fuck it, I'll find a way. But yeah, I don't want users to go through and upload everything themselves a second time. Mostly because they might not have the data anymore on their machines, and then they would have to go to NextBanana, download everything, and then upload it again. Fuck that. If there's an API available, even if there's not, I'll find a way to make that work. But it's going to be like a feature exclusive for people that I know. So you can't just like have some rando sign up and say, hey, import this thing from that guy because I want it. Like, no. It's going to be from people I know and trust. Basically, the people in our Discord or people from Damage Inc. or, trustworthy people, basically. The ones, like the classics, the OGs, the gangsters, the whatever you want to call them. Not something I've worked on yet, but it should be fairly straightforward, honestly. Granted, if the NextBanana API actually works the way I want it to. If not, I'll have to write a scraper, which wouldn't be as nice, but whatever. Back to code. What I want to do here is I think the view tracking should just happen directly inside the mutation. I don't have to worry about it here. That's dumb. Why do I do that? So let's remove that. And suddenly that's complaining, but I do not care. Scene skin, and we throw it in here. So we track the view here as well. We throw you up there because that's what we do. So we know already it's a skin, so this should be fine. I need to import that because dumb. And we can just pass the ID because we already have that. Why do you get view type when it's clearly view resource? Did I fuck this up? I am not sure. Come on. I see the issue. Okay, so I was right in that, but that. Why the fuck do you want context? Am I retarded? We need to pass the session for some reason, which is fine. We can get that. Think that should do it. Yeah, you don't work anymore. Yeah. Don't need to pass skin, just ID is fine. Okay, you know what? Fuck you. There you go. Just ignore you. Oh. Does that mean I can review? Uh-huh. Wait, how do I get the context from this thing? I'm quickly gonna go and close a window. 1 second. And there we go. All right, so we need context. How do we get that from the resolver? I don't know, because I've not really used it. Let's see, resolver. Thankfully, we just reindexed the search. So if you don't know, I work for the search company called Algolia, which is handling the search on the Blitz documentation as well, which is super nice. Okay, so we just call it that. So input cx, and there we go. So we don't actually need you. So instead of both triggering the scene and the track view, we all do it in this inside the scene skin, which is much easier. Or at the very least, it saves us a little bit of work. Now the question, however, is just, will you still do the constant refreshing? Let's have a look. I'm gonna do a refresh first, just to, you know, make sure that the data is propagated. I don't think that's gonna be an issue, but all right, let's see. Will you continuously load that fucking function? If you do, I'm gonna scream. So it triggers a few times, but it's not constantly doing it, which is nice. So we have, actually, let's check the database. So we need to check sessions here, refresh. Let's quickly copy this. Let's get in here and look. Okay, so obviously we did something wrong before. And we also forgot to check if something already exists and not push it if it does. Because right now we have plenty of the same thing. So, and that's because we didn't copy over this. Are we even using this? Oh yeah, we are. Okay, but we will need to reuse that inside of scene skin. Ideally, I guess we want to abstract that at some point, but for the time being, it's fine. So we only wanna call track view if you haven't seen this thing. So context session viewed, right? I don't know why when I'm streaming why everything is so slow, but whatever. So if I'm just doing if because actually we can just do actually, oh no, there you go. Fine, okay, you don't want to do that. If you have viewed, we do that. Actually, it's if you have not viewed, we call that. We should actually do all of that in here. Yeah, we don't need you. Fuck off. Move you over here. Close you. So, if we deal with all of that functionality directly in the mutation, we don't have to worry about that here on the front end, which is actually what we want. So we don't need that here because the mutation will take care of that. We just have to run the mutation as we normally would. Meaning we can get rid of that. We can make this a bit nicer by getting rid of this. There you go. So we just call the mutation. And if you haven't seen it, we do all of this stuff. Whoop. Including that. Else We don't actually need the else, we can just do return. Just return void in that case. But because we need it for the query data, we can just do like that. We could also return the skin itself, but I don't think we care. Also, this is looking kind of jank. We need a way to make sure that we don't push the page if it already exists. Actually, I think we might have that. It's just the fact that we fucked it up earlier. So let's just delete that. Which means we'll be locked out. Let's just refresh first for good measure, which is going to take another 10-15 seconds for some reason. At some point I need to find out why it's this slow at refreshing. It didn't used to be. I have a feeling it could be the stream and the fact that I'm streaming off of a MacBook. But still, it's a bit extreme. Okay, so we have 6,000. I'm just gonna copy this. Just dump it in here for now. So that's the current amount of page views. So 38. If I log in, and we go back to that. Oh, it still says 38. What if I'm not gonna refresh because it's slow. Let's just go back here and see again. Still 38. What does our session say? Can't fucking read that. Viewed. So we have it twice now. If I go back and watch it again, will we have the same issue? If it's added a third time now, then that means we are doing it wrong. Basically. It seems we still only have it twice, which is odd. Unless it's saved in the cache. So let's stop the server, go back here, delete our session again, save that, refresh, it's gone, perfect. And then we remove the temporary blitz folder with all the temp files and restart the server. And then we need to, for good measure, go back there. So it could be that I'm not sure if it links this session when you're not logged in, if it even creates a session if you're not logged in, but it could be that it matches the session from you having used the site without logging in potentially, and then when you log in, it combines those. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'll have to experiment a little bit with that. But in this case, it seemed like at the very least it was just keeping what we had before from our experimentation, which was broken. So deleting the blitz cache should help with that. At the very least, it shouldn't put stuff in there that we don't have. But it makes sense why the page view counter didn't go up, because we technically had it listed as viewed. And actually, now that I think of it, this should also prevent us from having the same thing viewed, listed as viewed twice. Because we're already checking for it here. And I forgot to save over here. Let's do that too. anytime now. Come on, I want to get this done so I can go make dinner, please. There we go, compiled successfully. Let me be the judge of that. And I accidentally hit a refresh when I didn't have to. Come on. Okay. Skins. Okay, so we don't have any session. If we go here. Okay, so this might be a problem. It's triggering a lot because we're not logged in, so there's no session. Meaning we should have set this to true instead as the fallback if there's no session. So if we refresh. However, that means users not logged in won't trigger the page view. So I'll need to check the Blitz docs to see if there's a way to attach session to not logged in users. Or find some other hacky workaround. But for the time being, it's not strictly necessary. We also trigger the updated ad when we do this, which is not what we want either. So we still do it, which is not great. Let's get rid of session. Honestly, I think that might be an issue. That seems to have stopped it. Let's just go back and... Okay. So if we log in... So 40, okay. So we've gotten 2 views since last. Still 40. Do we have the same weird session? Because if we do, the session is stored somewhere weird. No, but we do have this, which is listed as viewed. And it's listed as viewed. For no goddamn reason. Okay, you know what? Let's go back here, and then we go into the backend, and we just remove that. Let's do it in here. Like, no, I have not seen this. I don't know who that is. Same with private, now that I think of it. There we go. So now it should trigger because it, yeah, okay, so now it has updated. I think the issue was that it was on the page itself, and now it should stay. Let's try refresh, even though it is slow, just to make sure. And I also have end-to-end testing implemented. I don't have that many tests right now, but this is definitely something I would be running tests on because I don't want to have that tested manually every single fucking time. But it seems to work. It seems to work. Let's have a quick look just for funsies here. Admin. Did I ever get around to doing very much with the admin panel? I don't believe I did. Ah, of course. I have an image somewhere that's fucked up. Oh, I didn't mean to close that, whatever. Admin, index pages. Okay, where's that image fucking up from? It does not tell me. That's nice. I only have one page, so it should be fine. But I am not loading any images here. So that's a bit weird. Don't have a component, nothing. It's just loading that. Admin layout is using image, but where? Session. Huh. Well, here we can do it. Yes. Images nextbanana.com/users/_avatar.png. There. Now you have a source. Come on. Nope, apparently not. Alright. What is this laptop? So sorry for the ping noises. I have an old laptop I found and hooked up today, and for some reason it's making noises like crazy, even though I'm not using it. Session. That's literally the only place I'm using image on this page. That's weird. That is weird. It should be there. Let's see if do with 40. Do the same thing here. Well, kind of the same. But it's the only place I can imagine it load. Ah, there you go. Because that was the issue. I'm not authorized. Why am I not authorized? I am an admin. Why do you claim I'm not authorized? It's my own goddamn code. Okay, what the fuck is session here? That should be my session with the role of admin. So regardless, this admin page, it's something I started very recently. It's clearly not done. But yeah. It could be nice to get an overview of things that I have in the database that I might not actually have published. For example, right now, it's not loading the right thing, that's why. So for example, right now, I have a bunch of users, but I'm only really using a few of them. So it could be nice to have like a table at the very least to see what I have without having to go to the database every single time. That was the idea here. So why is my session not loading the right data? Okay, yeah, so that should come from in here, types, session, yeah, so it should come from here, where I have role, not roles. I do have viewed, which is odd. Is this coming from private data? Maybe public data with loading. Public data. I do have it, but I don't have it. Yeah, it's coming from here. Also, why? So it's not loading the profile picture either because of that. That's a bit odd. Because I'm pretty sure if I go back and look anywhere else, I'm still listed as an admin. So I think deleting that cache, which cleared our token. I'm not logged in, that's why. I'm an idiot. Why am I not logged in? Didn't I log in? Pretty sure I logged in. All right, okay. Go back here, here. Yeah, so I'm still listed as an admin for sure, as you can see by the purple color. And now I should have access. I need to create a link for this because doing it manually like this, like it doesn't use the nice link from Next.js. Ah, there you go. Okay, so now it works. Now it knows the data. That makes sense. So yeah, that's the beginning of a very basic admin dashboard. With absolutely no data. None of this does anything really. I did also start working on analytics, which is going to be a paid feature, or it was going to be a paid feature, I should say. I think I might be dropping that, as I mentioned earlier in the video or in the stream, which U7, my only viewer, wasn't here for. Basically, I initially wanted to provide some analytics for paid users, as an incentive to actually, you know, upgrading your account and paying and helping me keep the servers alive. But after some discussions at work, where I used to work on our analytics team, it turns out that analytics, keeping a server or a database for analytics, if you want, you know, consistent and good data, is expensive. And while I don't participate or anticipate having a lot of users here in the beginning, that could happen out of nowhere, and I would not be ready for that kind of bill. So might be dropping that and just providing an overall number instead, which isn't as cool. But yeah, I did play a little bit around with a chart, which is kind of cool. But yeah, obviously the color's not cool, but you know, whatever. Okay, well, that seems to be working, which is nice. Let's just test the download again, just because I want to. And that works beautifully. So I mean, not a lot of work was done, but something was done. And I think I will stop here. I've been streaming for 2 hours and 15 minutes. I think that's a good time to stop, and I will go get some dinner, and I will probably, maybe, big maybe, stream again sometime soon. Who knows? Yeah. 7, thank you for joining and watching. And I think I might upload this to YouTube just for, you know, archiving it. But yeah. See you. How do I stop this thing? Oh, there it is. All right. See you all